is an example of a relation that is defined by an arrow diagram. This relation associates 1 to 1 and negative 1. It associates 0 to 0, and it associates 8 to negative 2 and 2. We would like to determine the domain and range of this relation and also to write it using a chart of values and to write it as a set of ordered pairs. If you like, go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure out the domain and range of this relation. The domain of a relation written as an arrow diagram consists of all of the elements of the set where the arrows are coming from. So in this example, the domain consists of the elements 1, 0, and 8. The range of a relation written as an arrow diagram consists of all the elements in the set that the arrows are pointing to. So in this example, the range consists of the elements 1, negative 1, 0, negative 2, and 2. Now let's write this relation as a chart of values. If you like, go ahead and pause the video to see if you can write this as a chart of values. To write this relation as a chart of values, we write each arrow from the arrow diagram as a row of the chart, with the domain element at the start of the arrow in the first column and the range element at the end of the arrow in the second column. So we have an arrow associating 1 to 1. So we'll have a chart entry with 1 in the first column and 1 in the second column. We have an arrow associating 1 to negative 1. So we'll have a row with 1 in the first column and negative 1 in the second column. We have an arrow associating 0 to 0. So that gives us a chart row with 0 in the first and second columns. We have an arrow associating 8 to negative 2. So that gives us a row in our chart with 8 in the first column and negative 2 in the second column. And finally, we have an arrow associating 8 to 2. So we get a row of our chart with 8 in the first column and 2 in the second column. And this is how you write this relation using a chart of values. Now briefly pause the video and see if you can write this relation as a set of ordered pairs. To write this relation as a set of ordered pairs, we get a pair for each arrow, where the first coordinate of the pair is the domain element at the start of the arrow, or where the arrow is from, and the second coordinate each pair is the range element at the end of the arrow, or where the arrow is pointing to. So for this relation, we have an arrow from 1 to 1, so we get an ordered pair, 1, 1. We get an arrow from 1 to negative 1, associating 1 with negative 1. So we get a pair, 1, negative 1. We have an arrow associating 0 to 0. So that gives us a pair, 0, 0. We have an arrow associating 8 to negative 2 that goes from 8 to negative 2. So that gives us a pair 8, negative 2. And we have an arrow from 8 to 2. So that gives us the pair 8, 2, associating 8 to 2. And that is how you write this relation as a set of ordered pairs.